Crazy details have been revealed about the Minnesota Vikings as their schedule has now been released. We now know ideas behind the Sam Howell signing, as well as J.J. McCarthy coming to this team and the role that he's going to fill, as well as a very interesting look that Kevin O'Connell has pushed for in this year's schedule. We're going to be breaking it all down here on this episode of Vikings Digest. Very quickly before we jump into it, be sure to hit the sub button if you haven't already. We have a lot of Vikings news to cover daily. We know that just over 90% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. So, like I said, if you're looking for a spot for all of your Minnesota Vikings news, you're in the right spot. Hit the sub button, join us here on the channel. We're covering everything Minnesota Vikings. Without any further ado, let's just jump straight in to our first screenshot here, going over the Vikings making a very interesting announcement a couple days ago ahead of training camp. They'll put McCarthy a test for both the fan and media scrutiny before the season even starts. Now, this comes with the joint practices that they're having with, in this case, the New England Patriots. And it gives J.J. McCarthy, the Minnesota Vikings, a very interesting look as to something that happened in last year's draft when we went out and got J.J. McCarthy. Sports Illustrated Albert Breer reported the Vikings attempted to trade up to land Drake Maye, but the New England Patriots declined the offer and selected him. Maye was selected number 3 overall behind Caleb Williams and Jaden Daniels. And now we're seeing a joint practice between the two teams, getting to see J.J. McCarthy go up against Drake Maye. And you only have to assume that this was either the idea of Kevin O'Connell, the NFL, but the idea was there to make this a comparison between Drake Maye and J.J. McCarthy in this joint practice. There is no doubt in my mind about this. But when we look at J.J. McCarthy, he has been, stated to be the best quarterback in this draft. We've yet to see it. We've been able to see that Drake Maye is a very, very good quarterback, but with the injury due to J.J. McCarthy last year, we didn't get to see him stack up against all these other quarterbacks that he's going to be facing this year. And every quarterback ahead of him, another very interesting stat that I kind of will pull up here, every quarterback ahead of J.J. McCarthy that was drafted, the Vikings will be playing this season. Now, I think the only one we're going to have a bit of question behind is Michael Penix. It could be Kirk Cousins. Still uncertainty there, but he will be at least in the lineup. So Michael Penix, Drake Maye, Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, all will be facing J.J. McCarthy this year, and it's going to give a wild look kind of at the Vikings when it comes down to, will they be making the right choice? Is this going to be the right choice? And we're going to see how he faces against these year 2 quarterbacks at this point. We know that they're all very good. Caleb Williams, I would say right now, the least of them, apart from Michael Penix, because of the team that was built around him. I'm assuming that he's going to be taking a major boost this year. I think every Vikings fan can assume that. And we just got to hope that this step up is not as big as people are going to think, or as big as people I really hope to go. But I do believe fully that we're going to see J.J. McCarthy be, if not better, but up to par with all of these quarterbacks here, given the weapons he's been given and given Kevin O'Connell being this coach to go with. Now, if J.J. McCarthy, once again, does not really assume this position right away and takes a bit, Sam Howell is our backup. And there was another report as well coming out about the reason Sam Howell was signed, the kind of idea behind it, what Kevin O'Connell thought about this. Now, I want to pull up Sam Howell's stats before we jump into Kevin O'Connell's quotes, because I think it's fair to say Sam Howell, very, very good quarterback, but his touchdown-interception ratio throughout his career is really not great. We've seen him make some big plays, make some very, very good, plays on the feet, passes, everything. He's got the right idea, but once again, the teams that he's been playing on the Commanders before they were really a very, very good Commanders team, playing on Seattle last year where he was really not given any shot, I would say, 2 games, but with what we've seen from him in the past and what we've been able to see him do, given the right scenario, given a young guy like him who, not very old, and coming into a team with Kevin O'Connell with some great weapons, I think Sam Howell will be a great quarterback regardless as well. And this is what we had to see Kevin O'Connell say about the topic. But JJ is going to be in a great position to assume and descend in our organization. But right now, we really don't have any feelings on competition, as much as we've gotten an obligation as coaches to put our players in the position to attack that competition phase. Sam Howell will be a part of it. We've got to get Sam ready to play. We've got to get Brett Rypien ready to play. Now, given the scenario that we do have J.J. McCarthy in with Brett Rypien, with Sam Howell, J.J. McCarthy certainly is going to be the one taking this helm. I don't think there's any competition ready, but Sam Howell is a guy that will give, I would say, a decent amount of competition if asked behind J.J. McCarthy. And if J.J. McCarthy is not playing up to par, which let's hope he does, let's hope he plays very, very well, and I'm assuming he's going to play well, still just uncertainty because we haven't seen him actually play in a game yet, it gives the Vikings a great opportunity with Sam Howell another young quarterback to kind of assume that role for the time being. So, given that, I think Kevin O'Connell's making some great comments here, making a lot of sense when it comes down to it, and also putting the Vikings in a great spot by saying this in specific. Because we know that when we're looking at this team, we need to have everybody rolling at every time because we don't have that veteran quarterback at this point, and we need to have a very, very solid team to really build up to get to this point. Now, we do have another interesting thing, and as we know, the Vikings are playing 2 international games this year in Ireland, and of course, heading over to London after that. And according to USA Today, Nate Davis, several anonymous sources said the Vikings sought the opportunity to play in the league's first regular season game in Ireland, adding to an expected trip to London. And we know the Vikings are usually over, whether it is in Germany, whether it is in London, but having this come out and seeing Kevin O'Connell push for an Ireland game as well, and then getting 2 international games in back-to-back weeks, this is a very interesting look when we're coming down to it. But what Kevin O'Connell had to say and the way that this is all going to play out, it makes a lot of sense. Normally you'd think you would want J.J. McCarthy play at home as much as possible rather than going over and having a bit of a different scenario. But the way that Kevin O'Connell described this really made a lot of sense. He says the 2-game trip gives us an unbelievable opportunity to take our team on the road, get away from a lot of day-to-day things that may be pulling players in any other direction. It feels almost like a training camp. It feels almost like a trip that allows us to come together closer than ever, build our team camaraderie and culture even stronger, which has been such a strong asset to us over the 3 years I was here. Now, Kevin O'Connell, I feel like, is the only coach in the NFL that I would see say this. Building this whole team outside of the actual game of football has been so important to him. That has been evident in his years here. And even though the Vikings may have not had the most depthy roster last year, we saw some of these guys who were coming in as backups really feel to be part of a team, even though they may have not played so much because of Kevin O'Connell, his mindset as a head coach, and the way that he's been building this team out from the bottom up. So I love this idea from Kevin O'Connell. I love his description of it because, frankly, I was a bit confused. I won't lie about that. I was a bit confused when I saw this saying the Vikings were trying to go and get these 2 games in Ireland and then in London. But the way this makes it seem like, I absolutely love Kevin O'Connell's idea of it. Let the team, I don't want to say take it easy, but rest easy on the mind, knowing that, this is fun. It's not just, a full bit of scrutiny. You want to have fun while doing this, even though you're trying to win as well. So, looking at that as well, the Vikings 8-0 in Europe, and that's something that we want to continue with. And I think that Kevin O'Connell knows this team plays very, very well over there, and it's going to be a good one. Very early games, though, unfortunately, but it's the way it rolls. Have that and watch these games after. But I want to know what you guys think right now about these few things that we had to touch on here. First of all, J.J. McCarthy against Drake Maye. What do you think we're going to see there? I'm expecting a lot of back and forth, friendly back and forth, not kind of hatred between the two. I think that both of these guys, very, very talented quarterbacks, but we're really going to see J.J. McCarthy try and get up there and, put his name above Drake Maye on this list of rankings that we've been able to see over the past few days. And I think that Sam Howell as well is going to have a great opportunity here as a good backup and maybe pop into a game or 2 here and there, but it's also going to be a lot of fun seeing this team over in Europe. So let me know what you think here in the comments below. That's all I got in this video. If you did enjoy, of course, give it a like, hit the sub button as well. And remember, we have a lot of Vikings content coming to you right now, and once we head towards the later part of this offseason, heading towards a lot of this season starting, we're going to have so much stuff to bring you then. But like I said, that's all I got. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.